So it goes to 4 a.m. What, we've heard the analogy before in terms of innings for the AI trade. Are we still in the early innings from your view? Because you had started to see some commentary about, okay, things are maturing. Are we going to start to see the second case, the use case for AI? And that's kind of what investors were looking to hear more of. Okay, what's the use case now?
Yeah, and that's what, look at the Messi of AI Palantir. I mean, that's front and center in terms of the use cases. Use cases are exploding today. I mean, we have 4x the amount of use cases than we did going back, call it 4 or 5 months ago. That's why you see in the strength in ServiceNow, Oracle. I believe ultimately you'll see strength in Salesforce and a lot of other software names. Because now the use case, the software phase of AI is starting to play out.
Let's talk a little bit about Nvidia. The shares are higher, as I guess can be expected today, especially when you see this big risk on trade. What does that tell you about where Nvidia stands and, kind of some of the naysayers recently?
Yeah, the haters are going to hate. But I mean, we just got back from Asia and demand continues to accelerate. And like I said, demand's outstripping supply 15-1. You start to look at Godfather of AI, Jensen Nvidia. This is just the start of the AI revolution. We believe a year from now, Nvidia is a $4 trillion market cap.
This video discusses the strong market performance in tech, particularly driven by AI investment. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq are at all-time highs, with analysts projecting substantial growth for tech companies like Nvidia. $1 trillion in AI-driven capital investments is expected over the next few years, creating high demand for tech stocks and suggesting that tech, especially AI, will continue to rise in value through 2025. Analysts also believe that as more use cases for AI emerge, smaller companies and software firms will increasingly benefit. Nvidia, in particular, is highlighted as a central player, with demand for its AI chips far outpacing supply and a projected future market cap of $4 trillion. Analysts argue that Nvidia's dominance in AI hardware and infrastructure is not just hype, but marks the start of a fourth industrial revolution. As more companies seek to integrate AI, Nvidia's position strengthens, with additional benefits likely for companies like AMD, although Nvidia remains the leader. With 3% of enterprises currently using AI, analysts expect rapid adoption across industries. The video also touches on recent growth seen in Asia and projections for Apple's AI-driven iPhone supercycle. Experts anticipate long-term growth in tech and AI investments, with companies re-architecting their infrastructures to keep up with evolving AI technology. Despite concerns about a tech bubble, analysts argue that AI's transformative potential is real, indicating robust, sustained growth for years to come.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, you've got markets hitting new all-time highs today. We're looking at the S&P 500 continuing to advance, NASDAQ 100 really rallying today. How does this impact the AI trade in your view through the balance of the year?
Oh, I think tech rips higher. I mean, rest of the year. Look, first off, you have $1 trillion of AI-driven CapEx coming to tech over the next, call it, 3 years. And that fundamental story, I mean, we just got back from Asia, and that's accelerating, not decelerating. So I think it shows demand's outstripping supply 15-1. Tech AI names, I believe, rip higher into year end. And I think going 2025, now you're going to see more second, third derivatives of that trade, and even small caps starting to participate. Now, I continue to believe it's 9 p.m. in the AI party that goes to 4 a.m.
Let's bring in our next guest to talk about Nvidia in the chip sector. Vivek Arya, Bank of America Securities Senior Semiconductors Analyst. And when you look at Nvidia, it's good to see you, Vivek. When you look at it, I think there's two angles. One is how strong are its customers? How strong is demand going to be? And then you've got, I guess, competitors to Nvidia that want to get into the same business. And on both of those metrics, I think you think Nvidia is well positioned. They're still the leader, and demand is still going to be strong.
Yeah, good morning, Joe. I think the key is that their customers are in a race to re-architect the data center and replace traditional servers with accelerated servers. This movement had started about a year or two ago, and then as soon as we started to see the improvements in generative AI and these large language models, which, by the way, the computing requirements to train some of these models are growing 4 to 5 times a year. So this is not your, Moore's law progressing every 2 years. This is technology that is changing every, 4 to 5 times a year. So we need to throw a ton of computing infrastructure, and it is not just the processors, it is networking, it is optics, it is software, it is developers, it is bringing it all together. And in our mind, there is only one company that can bring it all together. This is expensive, no doubt. We are going from capital intensity for a lot of these cloud players that used to be 9 or 10%, and now it's 15 or 16%, right? CapEx is growing 50+% a year. But we do think that this is very important for them. It can open up new revenue opportunities, and this build out and re-architecting can last at least through the next decade, with a 4 or 5 year of initial build out and then a lot more success-based build out. And then finally, yes, there is competition, but we do expect Nvidia to maintain its 80 to 85% market share, and then another 10% or so for these custom chips, and then a few percent for other players such as AMD.
You refer to it as a generational opportunity, and that I guess that's 10 years. That'll continue. There's some industry events you point to. Taiwan's semis results. AMD had an AI event. All these things. So you're saying that all Avago, Micron, all these things indicate that's demand for Nvidia's Blackwell chips?
Yeah, I think we have a few things that are coming together. First of all, the customers themselves are being pushed by this private company, OpenAI, on one side, that is innovating rapidly in a very kind of closed and proprietary architecture. And on the other hand, you have a company such as Meta that is putting out large language models in a very open format, right? Anyone can go and access their models. So the traditional cloud players are having to take the lead from these two very important forces.
$4 trillion market cap. I mean, that's a huge statement to make. What's the thesis behind that for Nvidia hitting that level?
I mean, look, you have $1 trillion of AI-driven CapEx. They're the only game in town. Numbers, we believe, go up significantly higher. I think the street's still underestimating in terms of what ultimate demand looks like here. And I think as this all plays out, it is not an expensive stock. And I think when you look next 6-12 months, not just about Nvidia, but I think rest of tech, we believe tech could be up 25-30% over the next year.
Can AMD catch up at all to Nvidia?
Look, Lisa Su, you never bet against her. I mean, they will be a clear beneficiary in terms of on the chip side. I mean, a lot of that we won't see probably for another 18 months, but I don't believe a lot of that AI is being built into AMD. I think AMD is going to be a clear beneficiary. And look, this is a big enough ocean for more than two boats. I mean, we are seeing a 1995 almost 1996 moment, but this is not a 1999 tech bubble moment. And I think that's why a lot of the bears are going back into hibernation mode.
So you say the bears are going back into hibernation mode, but is this just a moment? Because there have been critics who say this is, they worry about a bubble for AI. Why aren't you worried?
Because we see the spending. I mean, you see the use cases. I believe this is the biggest transformation we've seen in tech in the last 35, 40 years. It is a fourth industrial revolution playing out. This is not hype. It is real. And I think we see that more and more with data points, whether it's Oracle, Palantir, ServiceNow. We see it, but I believe Salesforce and others. This is just the start of this AI revolution, obviously being led by Godfather of AI, Jensen, Nvidia, Nadella and Redmond, but it is not stop. It's not stopping. And also, the bears have hated this rally for the last 2 years. And I think it's just going to be another painful year ahead for the bears.
And then you said you were recently in Asia. What stood out to you about, the potential for growth within tech and AI from your visit?
Demand's accelerating. I mean, we're seeing that across the whole supply chain. Use cases exploding. You only have 3% enterprise that have even gone down the AI path. We come back from Asia incrementally more bullish, not just on AI, the broader tech trade, including Apple, despite, many yelling fire in a crowded theater this week.
Are you in the camp that's expecting a super cycle for iPhones for Apple?
Oh, this is an AI. If you looked up super cycle, you'd see iPhone 16. This is an AI-driven super cycle underway in Cupertino. Pre-orders, I believe, in line with expectations. No one was expecting strong pre-orders. It's about going into the holiday season, and this would be Apple's strongest unit year ever.
All right. Well, I'm overdue for a new iPhone myself.
And that's a bullish indicator as you upgrade.
There we go. Dan Ives, thank you so much for rejoining us.
Tech stocks are surging, driven by a wave of AI investments expected to reach $1 trillion. Nvidia, a leader in this space, may reach a $4 trillion valuation as AI demand continues to grow. Expanding use cases are also boosting companies like Oracle and Salesforce, signaling a major shift toward an AI-powered future. Nvidia's position as a leader in AI chips remains strong, even as competitors like AMD seek a share of the market. Heavy investments in cloud and computing infrastructure show that the AI boom could fuel continued growth across the tech sector. Do you think the AI market is still in its early stages? How realistic do you think Nvidia's $4 trillion market cap goal is?